As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
The conditions are proper to get the needs of this minister and the president.
Give us access to our money in charge.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
The conditions are proper to get the needs of this minister and the president.
Give us access to our money in charge.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in
Challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Good morning and welcome to Open Conversation on Atlantic Television Network. Open Conversation is a network flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific TV. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll delve right into the show. Don't go away.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
The conditions are proper to get the needs of this minister and the president.
Give us access to our money in charge.
as always said, there
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability
What up,
and
I guess
The conditions are proper to get the needs of this minister and the president.
Give us access to our money in charge.
the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles,
Come and salvage us from where we are.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
The conditions are proper to get the needs.
Give us access to our money in charge.
And the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
no matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
The conditions are proper to get the needs of this minister and the president.
Give us access to our money in charge.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
The conditions are proper to get the needs of this minister and the president.
the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
no matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. To condemn this act, I thought that difficult to leave of this minister and the pocket.
Give us access to our money within time.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Difficult to leave of this minister and the pocket.
Give us access to our money within time.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. To condemn this act, I thought that difficult to leave of this minister and the pocket.
Give us access to our money within time.
As always said, there are two sets of people,
How tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. To condemn this act, I thought that difficult to leave of this minister and the pocket.
Give us access to our money within time.
as always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. To condemn this act, I thought that difficult to leave of this minister and the pocket.
Give us access to our money within time.
as always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. To condemn this act, I thought that difficult to leave of this minister and the pocket.
Give us access to our money within time.
as always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the lands across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. The propagandists are covered with the news of this minister and the
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Open Conversation this morning is Chief Loveday Okere, JP. Chief Loveday is a socio-political analyst. Good morning, Chief Loveday, and welcome.
Good morning, Laurentia. Thank you for having me.
And you look good, by the way, Chief.
Thank you very much.
And on to the story. Speaker Martins Amehule-led House of Assembly in Rivers State has passed the bill to repeal the Commission Law of Inquiry 1999. The lawmakers, in a statement signed by Amehule's Special Assistant on Media, Martins Nwachukwu, said the bill was passed in their efforts to pull Rivers State from the nadir of legislative anachronism and place it on the pedestal of legislative contemporariness. The statement released in Port Harcourt on Wednesday said the lawmakers passed the Rivers State Commissions of Inquiry Bill 2024 to replace the old law. He said the reenacted Rivers State Commissions of Inquiry law, when it eventually becomes law, would guide the holding of commissions of inquiry and for other related matters. Debating on the report presented by Sylvanus Nwankwo, members lauded the committee for a job well done. They stressed that the response of members of the public to the public hearing spoke volumes on the acceptability of the bill and urged the House to pass the bill into law. In his remarks, Amehule commended the committee and lawmakers for their robust debate on the report and the bill. Amehule said that as a progressive assembly, the lawmakers would continue to amend or repeal and reenact obsolete anachronistic laws that no longer serve the interests of Rivers people. Amehule expressed the hope that given the progressive import of the bill when passed and assented, it would further deepen the doctrine of separation practice and rules resolved into the committee of the whole and gave the bill clause by clause consideration. Chief Loveday, what do you make of this story?
Yeah, yesterday when I was a guest in one of the radio stations in Port Harcourt, this topic was one of the issues we discussed.
All right.
And it didn't take my time to lend my voice to say that if what is happening in Rivers State today can happen in 30 other states of the Federation, we would have assumed that we now have independent legislature around our country. Recall that most often people have adjudged our legislature, including the National Assembly, as rubber stamp. Reason being that whatever is the wish of the chief executive is always being adopted by various assemblies as the law.
Okay.
So, but in this case now, the crisis in Rivers State has created a kind of independence to Rivers State legislature, certain intentions. But because after every 4 years, the essence of having electing new members as legislature is to also look at new things that will guide us in terms of law, in terms of representation. So even if what they have done today is not in tandem with what the people want, by the time you have 11th Assembly, or even this one, they may decide to still amend. That is why they are there. They will continue to make, because there is no law that can be so holistic that it will comprehend everything that should guide the people at a particular time. Okay. So we'll continue to repeal, we'll continue to amend, and we'll continue to make sure that these laws are in conformity with what the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is all about. So they have performed that function and duty which the law so gives to them through our Constitution. So for me, the it has to be passed to the chief executive, that's the governor of the state, to actually assent his signature, where otherwise the constitution also gives them the right to override the governor. So the issue here is that it is very obvious that even laws that has been passed by assemblies that seems not to be in tandem with what the people want, has always, nobody will always say anything, because it may have happened where there is a kind of collaboration between the executive and legislature. So no matter whatever they do, nobody will hear it, because there is no issue. But in this case, even when the assembly may have done that which is right, and perhaps the governor or the chief executive is not happy with it, people will condemn or people will like. So, but in this case, the state assembly has done that which constitution has empowered them to do. So, what next is where we will stand in now.
All right. Now, there are questions around the intent or the motive behind this move by Rivers State House of Assembly. We recall that the government in the aftermath, the governor in the aftermath of the attack on local government secretariats, on October 7, constituted or appointed a commission of inquiry, a panel of inquiry to inquire into the local government arson. One would say, isn't this move by the Rivers State House of Assembly, you know, a move that to a large extent will whittle down the power of the governor in appointing panels of inquiry in the future? Because, I mean, this law cannot apply to this current panel of inquiry.
That is the beauty of democracy.
Whittling down the power of the
separation of powers. That's the beauty. That is, except you are not practicing democracy, then you can say that you can begin to think about intent. Because I cannot read what is in your mind, you cannot read what is in my mind. But no matter whatever that is in your mind or in my mind, every action I should carry out based on my responsibility that I'm carrying out as either elected or appointed in public service must be in tandem with what is obtainable from our constitution. So no matter how anybody will think about it, whether intent or no intent, the issue is these people that are doing this, are they doing what the law has empowered them to do? What they have done, is it outside the scope of their responsibility? That is the first question. So I don't want to look at emotion, I don't want to look at whatever anybody would look at intent. But what is playing out is that the essence of the rule of law is to encourage checks and balances, so that you check the excessive arbitrary excess of the executive or the judiciary or that of legislature, so that everybody will play his role. So the governor has the powers to constitute commission of inquiry. The legislature has powers to make laws that will guide the activities of commission of inquiry. Now, the judiciary has powers to look at where there is conflict between these two brothers. Recall that in democracy, the legislature is the senior brother of all. That's what I call them. I call legislature the senior brother, because without legislature, there is no democracy. Forget about what is happening, that because of the resource control that is in the hands of executive, they try to override the powers of legislature. No. The legislature is where the power resides in democracy. So in this case now, if there is any conflict arising from the laws so amended or repealed or enacted, and the interest of the executive, now the junior brother, which is the judiciary now, who is always standing at the middle, will not come in to look at it, to now make appropriate pronouncement, which in a way too is, you know, in lawmaking, judiciary makes law through their pronouncement whenever there is conflict. So that is where we will not expect judiciary to come in. But at this moment, nobody can fault the governor for constituting a panel of inquiry, and nobody can also fault the legislature for making law to repeal it, because that is their job.
Isn't that move is it not reactionary? That's the thing. Is it not reactionary?
So,
you know, if the assembly in this instance had gone ahead prior to this panel of inquiry by the governor, if they had gone ahead prior to this time and said, probably based on research, you know, or based on the outcome of panel of inquiry in previous government administrations, we have decided to repeal this law and amend it and reenact it.
Yeah.
But why are they being reactionary? You can't take that away, that probably this is premised on the action of the governor. And as long as this crisis in Rivers State subsists, there are also the possibility of future panel of inquiry over issues will still come up.
Thank you very much, Larisha. You
Yes.
see, majority of the laws we see in this country today carry out either in National Assembly or every other state are reactionaries.
Okay.
Yes, they are. And that is why they are there. We have our constitution. Ordinarily, we will not say that because we have our constitution, there is no need for us to have legislature again, because the law is already there. But because the laws that are there are not enough to guide our conduct year in, year out. For instance, there are several lacunae that has not been even discovered in our constitution. Majority of them have also been discovered, and laws are made through an act to correct them or to strengthen them. That is why during President Buhari's administration we had electoral reform to reform some of the conditions that guide the conduct of INEC. Now, let me also tell you, when we had the experience of the death of the governor-elect of Kogi State some time ago, the National Assembly have to come in. It was reactionary because something has happened. So, legislature reacts to issues, to events that has happened in governance. So, if you say because you don't want to come in as legislature to make appropriate law, because people will say you are reactionary, it means the purpose for which you were elected to make law, to represent, to oversight, has been defeated. Therefore, in as much as there is legislature, in as much as governance will run day in, day out, legislature must react on anywhere that the laws are not, or let me say the laws are obsolete. Okay. The laws are no longer in contemporary form that suits the present condition of our state as a people. So it must be reactionary because the constitution is already there. So we react based on events, based on actions that is no longer fashionable in our present days. Right. So it must be reactionary.
And I also asked you, in your opinion, do you not think that this move, this law, is targeted at whittling down the powers of the executive?
That is the essence of checks and balances.
That was what you said.
That is the essence
by
of checks
whittling down the powers of the executive.
That is the you see, because of in legislative studies or I can't remember now. You see, there is what we call merits and demerits, or if you like, advantages and disadvantages of the collaboration of legislature and executive. One of the advantages is that it brings what we sense to be peaceful coexistence in governance in the state, where you will not hear any kind of crisis whatsoever. But where there is no collaboration between the two, the example is what you see that's happening in Rivers State today. And the public will benefit. How does the public benefit? Because these people in government are the ones controlling the resources that goes around. So if they are collaborating, whatever they say, nobody will hear it. It will go through. But if there is a conflict that such as we have in Rivers State today, the legislature will do that which the law permits them to do independently.
Okay.
The executive will do that which the law permits them to do without infringing on the right of the legislature, or the legislature infringing on the powers of executive. So it is checks and balances. Whereas the judiciary is there watching to say, okay, after fighting, we'll see how to separate it. So this is the true definition of democracy at play here now in River State. So anybody talking about intent is just a mere wish to begin to think about the intent of somebody who is doing his work somewhere. Just like you as a managing director who has taken a measure because of a fault coming from your staff. Perhaps you have given a rule. Part of your rule is that everybody must resume work by 7 o'clock. And in one way or the other, you find out that somebody resumed work at 7 o'clock so early when other people were not there and something was missing. So you now said, okay, because of this, I will now look at my law again to review. Instead of 7 o'clock, let's be resuming by 7:30. You are reacting based on what has happened. So nobody will come and tell you that why should you react.
Out into the Senate plenary to permit the attendance of key officials from the economic team. However, Senator Abdul Ningi, PDP Bauchi Central, opposed this motion, pointing to Senate rules. In response, Deputy Senate President Jibrin Barau, APC Kano North, defended the motion. The heated exchange underscored the growing tension surrounding the tax reform bill, which has drawn widespread public interest and concern over its potential impact on Nigeria's economy. Let's take a listen to the video.
Mr. Speaker, I read through some of these things and I listened to the leader most appropriately. I don't see anywhere whereby the senators should allow these people to come here and make the kind of interactions they so want. However, committees of the Senate and Appropriation can invite for the interaction of this manner, but not the Senate in session. I think our rule does not cover invitation to consultants or any official of government to come and bring the senators. I so submit.
Try to use the position of the Senate, because the order paper is clear and we have been doing this. I have no problem having them to come here and explain whatever. We have been doing that, but we follow known procedures. And that is, if today this thing has to be taken, you now quickly ask for supplementary order paper that will reflect this. And as you said, this is a very, very important matter. It is not a matter that you just come and tell us after we are doing business of the day. Mr. President, you can have your way, but I will have my say. You will have your way, but I can have my say. You can use the gavel, and I will use my voice. This thing is very sensitive. Our people have been dominated by this matter. When you say it's matter of urgent national importance, yes, we do have matters of urgent national importance. But even those matters normally is referred to the next legislative date or another legislative date. Please, I beg you in the name of God, this matter is very, very important to not only us, but Nigerians that we represent. And we swear by Bible and Holy Quran that will represent the interests of the people. These people partially have spoken. The governors, the National Economic Council, and that you have made your point. Can I respond to you? You can rule me out of order. Let me respond to you. Now, please, we are not here for it to clamoring for openness in this arrangement. We want to be open. We want Nigerians to know, we want everybody to know what's wrong here. We are trying to make everything open. Live. Let everybody listen. The chairman of is here. And why are you saying you don't want that to be done? This is wrong. 1B, which the leader came under. Can you read order 1B for me, please? Can you read order 1B? Okay. Order 1B read as follows. In all cases not provided for in this standing order, or by sectional or other orders or practice of the Senate shall by resolution regulate its procedure. This is what we have just done. This is a resolution that was just passed. You needed to have known what we have done. I therefore rule you out of order. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. Chief Loveday, what do you make of this interesting session that happened at plenary yesterday?
Well, the clip I watched now, I cannot define it as a rowdy section, because I didn't see any form of rowdiness, but I saw democracy playing out. Yes, because the duties of the members of legislature, or if you like call it parliamentarians, is to make their voices heard, in extension making the voices of the constituents heard. So what is playing out there is members of the National Assembly trying to make sure that they defend their rules. It's not even the issue of the tax reform bill now that is the problem, but their rules, their rule of engagement, that is what I saw that is that was playing out. Now, the highest thing that they will do is that they suspend that particular session that does not allow non-members of the parliament to come in. They will not. Somebody will just come through a motion to suspend that particular session, and they will now resolve to allow the person in. Or even when the president or the president, I think the likes of Atn Dume and the PDP senator are very right in what they were saying, because you need to prepare the minds of the members on the issues to be discussed in the particular day of the session. So, but the only thing that is playing out is not even the rules of the Senate, but the topic itself, the tax reform, the interest each and every one of them has in that particular, because this tax reform now is targeting the so-called business or the higher class in the society, not the lower class. And they know what to gain and what to lose. So by so doing, they are trying to do everything possible to prevent the discussion of this particular bill on that particular day.
This discussion actually, what happened was that Senate Leader Obeyemi Bamidele actually asked, because the Senate rule has, by Order 12, there are persons that have access, that can access plenary, that can come to Senate during now. According to the Senate rule, Order 12, this team from the president, they are not part, they do not, will I say, they are not qualified to be in that Senate plenary.
Yes.
Now, Senate leader now appealed that that particular Order 12 be suspended.
Yes.
To allow these people to come in.
Yes.
So that they can be heard, and so Nigerians can actually watch, because this is a live show. Nigerians were watching. Yeah. Nigerians can actually watch and hear them explain this tax reform bill themselves. However, Senator Atn Dume now said that it cannot be impromptu like that, and secondly, that there is a committee. I mean, a Senate has different committees for different things, so that this particular visit by these people, they should be, they should meet with. The deputy leader defended the motion that was being presented by Leader Obeyemi to suspend Order 12. However, Leader Obeyemi now amended that, if you watch the full video, and now quoted another order of the Senate.
Section of the rule, yeah.
Yes, that now said that when certain exigencies exist, that the Senate can actually, you know, improvise and make rules for that moment.
Flourish, I see.
You know, that was what was happening. And then when Ali Ndume was reacting much later, I think the deputy Senate leader, when he was, the deputy speaker, when he was addressing Ali Ndume before this reaction you saw, said that what he had said earlier was a rhetoric. So Ali Ndume now got angry and said, you cannot tell me it's a rhetoric. I'm a ranking senator.
Thank you.
And hence all that played
You
out.
see, the reaction of Ali Ndume, if you watch very well, you agree with me that Ali Ndume is a member of APC. Thank you very much. The leader of the Senate is also a member of APC. So it is no longer the issue of political party now.
It's about the interest.
It's about interest now. And if it was when Ali Ndume was still serving as the chief whip also in the Senate, I think they moved in sometime.
Yes.
Maybe he would have been be in the same tone with the principal officers of the Senate or the presiding officer.
So he felt insulted.
Thank you. So it's not that he felt insulted, but Ali Ndume is more or less an opposition now to the principal officer, because whatever that is playing out now, he's not being carried along ab initio.
All right.
So he is now making his voice. You heard him say that you can rule me out of order with your gavel, but I will speak my voice. I will say what I want to say with my voice. You can have your way
with the gavel.
I have my say with my voice. That is the beauty of democracy. The majority will have. The minority will have his say, and the majority will have their way.
Right.
That is it. It is all like that all over the world. What is playing out for me, this is my opinion, is that the Senate principal officers are defending the interests of the government, so to say. You remember what I told you here, that when there is collaboration.
In this instance, one might think otherwise, because Ali Ndume was actually pushing for this particular presentation to be made privately to the committee.
No.
While the leader said suspend Order 12 to enable these people come live on plenary and speak
If I understand Ali Ndume was saying that, yes, they do have matters of urgent importance before now, and that they have a way of handling them, that this is not the first time. But that the way this one is coming, yes, he's not saying that it should not be discussed, but it can be given another legislative date. So he is saying it that why is it that what is happening is not that much of an emergency that you cause the Senate the presiding officer to suspend Order 12 to enable them to discuss it today. To him, that is his position. But the presiding officers who are, protecting the interests of government are saying that because we have been doing it, we have power to suspend any of our rules or any of our order to look at a certain thing, and that will come as a committee of the whole to discuss it. That is to say that both positions are not out of play if there is understanding. But in this case, that collaboration, that understanding is not there. So people will now have their different say. But at the end of the day, the gavel
will have its way. All right. We'll still come to the nitty-gritty, which is the tax reform bill. But before we come to that, I also have with me Ambassador Dr. Ekiye, C. Ekiye, a political analyst. Ambassador, are you there? Okay, Ambassador will join us much later. Chief Loveday, now to the nitty-gritty. The tax reform bill that has been very controversial and that has led to this rowdy session in Senate. Now, the tax reform bill, a lot of persons are for it and many are against it. Now, to a large extent, it appears that Nigerians also have not taken their time to also critically look. Many Nigerians, if I may say so, have not taken their time to critically look into the tax reform bill. While to some extent it might favor the lower class, to some extent it appears that it will give you with the right hand and also the left hand take from you. Because now there are two major gray areas in this tax reform bill. The first one now is with regards to who pays personal income tax and who doesn't pay personal income tax. Now, when you look at it critically, it appears that people who earn 800,000 naira annually, moving forward, are not liable to pay personal income tax according to this tax bill. However, people that earn from 2.2 million naira annually, now it's not monthly, annually, they will pay personal income tax. And the higher you earn, the more or the greater the percentage that you're going to pay to the government. Now, from 800,000 naira annually, you will not pay anything. However, from 2.2 million annually, that's about 187,000 naira salary monthly. If you calculate it, it's over 2.216 million or thereabout. So now, from 2.2 million annually, we pay 15%. From 9 million naira, we pay 18%. 13 million naira, 21%, 25 million naira, 23%, and above 50 million naira, 25%.
Oftentimes in Nigeria, people have, organizations have carried out some research on most corrupt institutions in this country. And some organizations, let me reserve, I don't want to mention them here for the benefit of this program. Some organizations have pointed hand to 1, 2, 3 organizations as the most corrupt institutions in the country. My not saying them is not an act of cowardice, but respect to those institutions. But I want to say that the tax collecting agents, which we call Federal Inland Revenue and State Inland Revenue, are the home of corruption.
Why do you say that?
I say this because if tax, personal income taxes or payee that is being collected by tax agents are remitted accordingly to states or the federations, the states would have been richer than what they are. The federations would have been richer than what they are.
The tax reform bill also takes care of that because according to statistics, Lagos State, Abuja, and River States earn the highest in this remittance. And this is because companies pay tax not by consumption, but they pay tax according to residents. Like in River State, certain headquarters, certain companies have their headquarters in River State. So the taxes, even from other states of consumption, from that company is gathered and paid to River State. And but with this one now, it will not be by consumption, which means other states will now start earning taxes.
Yeah, I'm coming, Lauricia. It's step by step.
All right, go ahead.
If you listen to me very well, you will appreciate where I'm going.
All right, go ahead.
Even though personal income taxes and payee are deducted from individuals, but when you have a reason to present your tax certificate to any organization, you will not be looking for where and how to get a tax certificate, despite the fact that same tax has been deducted from you on monthly basis. Why is it so? The reason is because those money that is being deducted from staff, for instance in River State, are not getting to where it's supposed to go to. Some individuals somewhere, somehow, are taking the money out from government. I'm sure that is what this tax reform bill is trying to cure. By, okay, since the money is not even getting to us, those small money are deducting from people in the name of personal income tax, let us eliminate it. If per annum a worker cannot get up to 3 million naira per annum, there's no need to tax him. Let him go with his money. That was why I said before that if government should pass that bill into law, that it is government that will lose. How will government lose? Government will lose because those money that they collect from low earners will not be there again. But is it getting there now? Perhaps government have looked at their check their statistics and see that nothing much is coming from low income earners. So they want to eliminate it completely. So that it will not help government not to allow those who collect this money without remitting them to government coffers not to have access to those money again. That is that. But in the real sense, assuming this money was getting to the government, then we can now say that government wants to help the low income earners by trying to put that money that is being deducted back to their pocket. But even in this case now, if the bill is passed into law, those who deduct that money in name of tax will not have the powers to deduct it again. But there are still middle income earners.
What do you classify as a middle income?
Thank you very much.
In Nigerian's current
in Nigerian context.
Nigeria's current economic reality.
Thank you very much. In Nigerian context, you have said here that those who earn between 2.2 million
annually. That's about 108 something
Thank you.
thousand.
And that there are those who also earn between 35 to 40 million annually. Thank you very much. These are the targets. Their positions are very obvious. Now there are people who are at the middle. Maybe they earn between 5 million to 15 million annually. This tax will be deducted. And they are in the same categories of these people, these low income earners, which their taxes are not getting to where it is supposed to be.
Actually, when you look
I don't want to be very direct here. I would have given you examples of companies whose workers in this river state do not have access to tax certificates, which is supposed to be their right because it is being deducted. Isn't
that applicable in most private companies?
IOCs is there.
All right.
That's international oil companies. LOCs is also there.
Okay, it's not just about private companies.
No. Private companies, majority of them don't even deduct these taxes because they are more direct with their staff. Maybe if you employ a security to as a gardener in your compound, ordinarily
private companies deduct as well, unless probably you say
it depends.
They deduct, unless they don't pay tax.
It depends on the level of the private company. Okay. Because once you register your company with CAC, you are captured there. There is a kind of tax you are supposed to pay to even CAC. But majority of the staff that are being employed in our homes, in our small companies, they do not pay tax because they have this direct relationship with workers. At the end of the day, you give them their money. Your salary is 50,000 naira. You pay 50,000 naira to the person. Do you understand me? So, but there are ones that are organized in the corporate form.
Organized labor.
Yes, not necessarily organized labor. That are organized, in corporate.
You mean private companies that are much more organized? That's
what I'm saying. Now they have what they call pay slip at the end of the day. Your salary is 100,000 in a month, and because they believe that your personal income tax should be maybe 5%. At the end of the day, they deduct 5% from your money, which is supposed to go to the government. They're supposed to pay the money to the government. Now, you are supposed to be issued a certificate for that 5,000 that you have paid your tax for this particular month. So that, assuming you are resigning today from that particular company to go and maybe contest election or do whatever, or you are even traveling, and you are demanded to bring your tax certificate, you don't need to go to the tax office to begin to look for tax certificate. It is already handy. But this one is that they will deduct this money and there is no certification and there is no route where this money is going to.
All right. Okay. But
that's exactly what I'm trying to. Okay. So if this tax reform can heal all those lacuna.
I think where you're going to right now is with respect to the government being able to block
those leakages,
the leakages where these persons who are probably the tax agencies in this instance are able to siphon some of these funds. But what we are looking at itself right now is the merit and demerit of the tax reform bill. Like I said earlier.
Why I didn't want to go into that.
Yes.
For that is that what this economic team was coming to do in Senate was to actually unfold the package. It was unfold the package. So that would have been a guide to National Assembly to debate on the reform, on the bill. which
they have been debating on the bill prior to this time, and Aline Dume has been vocal, vocal against the tax reform bill.
It is continuous.
And some other persons.
They have been debating.
Whilst the northern leaders have been very, very vocal and that they do not want the tax reform bill. So while some other persons have also been vocal in their support of the tax reform bill, now Nigerians are caught in between because a lot of Nigerians have not even sat down to critically look into the tax reform bill, how it affects or does not affect them, the pros and the cons of the tax reform bill. But it appears to a large extent that this tax reform bill, to a large extent, appears to be friendly to Nigerians with respect to a section, and that's the personal income tax. However, the comma comes into the VAT, because according to this current tax reform bill, the VAT will now be progressively higher. I think from 2025, it will move from 7.5% to 12% VAT.
That is where I agree with you when you said giving with right hand and
taking with
left hand. Because majority of us pay VAT, but we do not know. You don't know that I
pay VAT on everything.
Because when you go to a supermarket
from
buy
hotel bills to buying things from supermarkets to the filling station, you pay VAT in every single thing. Like it has been so implemented. Nigerians pay VAT, but probably they don't read their receipts.
That receipt
because
from
when you read your receipts, you realize that you pay VAT, and these VATs are not. I mean,
thank you very much. You see, that's exactly why people were crying when they say they have increased the minimum wage from 35% to from 35 naira to 75 naira, or so to say. If that money is given to you, you come back and buy fuel that you are buying 100 and something naira to, you now buy it at 1,000 something. So they have given you a little and take more. Take all that they have given you and even more the one you are supposed to serve. So the truth here is that we are the controversy lies in this particular reform. It's not even this one we're talking about. It's not even that this one we're talking about the personal income pay. That one is insignificant. It does not matter to them. You see this one that comes in bulk through revenue allocations, kind of, is where the problem is even coming. That is where you see the interest in National Assembly. Recall that when former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, was here, he went to court over how what do you call it, federal inland revenue receipts are shared among states, whatever they get from there. And the reason was that if a particular state do not allow a certain product in their state, they are not also supposed to allow
they are not supposed to receive
the benefits accruable from that particular product that they do not allow in their state. Now, in that reform, when I read it some time ago, before I realized that some people were making case that taxes should be collected from point of production, and if there are taxes to be collected at the point of distribution there, that it should be that if I produce, maybe in River State, I produce, for instance, crude oil, I should pay tax here in the state for production of this crude oil, and maybe the federation should take that which they are supposed to take. By then, the state would have taken what they're supposed to take from me as a company. Now, if I'm going to sell part of my products to Kaduna State, and I'm loading, I'm taking the product with tanker. When I get to Kaduna State, the Kaduna State may say, okay, for this tank, each tanker that crosses our border, we pay 1,000 as a tax. They have gotten their own part of the tax from there. So, not that my state is not allowed to participate in anything alcohol. Now, when the alcoholic company is paying tax, they pay this tax to federal inland revenue. And when you are not sharing it, the states that did not condone such production to be in their state will not get more. Because if you watch, the calculation that federal government uses to calculate whatever is based on population. That is why you see Kano State, in some cases, get more in terms of allocation. So that's exactly what this bill is trying to heal. Where I understand some of the senators for the North are kicking against it because they will lose in that aspect. So for me, I would like the members of the National Assembly or Nigerians to be very patient enough. Let us digest this particular bill. After all, the PIB as at them, which is the PIA today, lasted for over 15 to 20 years debate before it was finally signed.
All right.
You know, so this particular one, they should be patient. I'm happy that the firework in court over the federal inland tax has been suspended for now. I'm sure it's because of this so-called collaboration I was talking about. Because if there was none, you will see somebody who is angry, so will still raise it up, and the matter will come up.
Right.
So let us be patient and wait. Let the National Assembly forget about the order and rules, and give the economic team access to come and explain the package of this particular tax reform bill. So I will now know what to say at the end of the day.
All right, very well. Joining me on for this conversation is Ambassador Dr. Ekie C. Ekie. Ambassador, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Good morning, Ambassador Ekie.
My pleasure.
Ambassador, what is your take on this rowdy session in Senate over the tax reform bill? And also, I want to get your take or your opinion on the tax reform bill as well.
Oh, particularly, I want to say thank you. And I want to commend my brother who is right there with you. He's doing a very good job. Again, the issue of the taxation, I would like to say that Senator Ali Dume is entitled to his knowledge about the workings and the operations of the Senate. But I also think that if the majority opinion, and it's a matter of necessity, that Senator Ali Dume should understand with the leadership of the Senate and the majority of the senators who have obliged the Deputy Senate President, who is, moderating the session or presiding the session for the sitting in terms of the tax laws matter. And of course, it's a reform process. Reform does not take place in one day. And I'm sure that we all know that. So allowing these critical leaders in our area of national life that has to do with taxation to just go and present themselves and their facts and their opinion privately, I don't think it's very much okay. It is better. I know the Senate committee in charge of these matters will still do the needful. But I think making it a public discussion in a plenary where Nigerians are watching, where all the senators that are representing the entirety of the country based on their senatorial districts, I think is important. So after hearing them present the facts and figures and the reasons and the motive and the ideas, the benefits of these new policies that they are coming up with, I think the entire Nigerians, the entire senators can now privately make contributions to the committee to guide them while they come up with a better, bill or a law that will enhance our effective taxation system. I'd like to also lend voice in the issue of the tax bill, the new policies that are coming up. I think it's wonderful. You cannot rob Peter to pay Paul. For instance, in the case of the breweries, the alcoholic drinks, if you say, for instance, with all due respect, I respect my brothers from the other religious extraction. If you say you do not like the issue of alcohol, I don't promote alcohol anyway, and because you don't want it in your society, I think don't also benefit from the proceeds from alcohol. If it is being allowed in other region or other zone of the country. Because if they are able to take the liability of such productions and such activities, allow them to enjoy the asset alone. So I want to also think that it's a wonderful thing in also trying to checkmate the excesses of our decision. We are, not a religious state, but if you want to promote religion in your state, also just stick to the resources that comes from what your faith is not against. But I would like to say that the tax policy is a good one, but it must be moderate. Yes, we need so much money. I have always been on the advocacy of the money and the resources that we have so far that runs in trillions. How has it affected the common man? Because most of this taxation, again, will boil down in ensuring that the poor man goes through much pains again. And I like to also caution and advise. We should not come up with taxations that are working in Europe, in America, whereas the contexts are not the same. In America, in Egypt, in Europe, rather, the issue of shelter is not a challenge to her citizens. The issue of education is not a challenge to her citizens. The issue of welfare is not a challenge to her citizens. Government have provided, at least to a very reasonable extent, the basic amenities of lives. So if you are taxing me for providing for me, I think it's very, very righteous for me to reciprocate by paying my tax. Because I feel that from what you have given to me, you have not given me job and you want me to give tax. The business I am managing, you do not know how I survive to even have that tax, that business running. You don't give me power. You don't give me a kind of support in any way. The roads are bad. There is no power. There is no, I don't really know the area that government is very much supportive, even to the entrepreneurs. Even for those who are working for government, what is their minimum wage? You talk about 70,000 naira, even 100,000 naira in this kind of critical economy that people cannot even, I don't know what 100,000 can do or run for even a single man or a lady. Talk more or less of a family man. And yet, with the issue of VAT, the little taxation they deduct from them from the places of work, and yet, are we still coming up with new taxations? So I'd like to say that the taxations and the welfare of workers and entrepreneurs, should greatly be considered. Because if you are going to tax me, not like, you take from one hand and you collect from the other hand again, then it does look as if you are very, very wicked. So I want to think that those who are managing our tax system are humane, not because you're in position today. Mind you, no matter how you want to generate revenue today, one day you will not remain in that office. You may not know how the economy of your family members may have, but I'm not against taxation. I'm only saying that if we must come up with taxations law or policies or bills, we must be mindful of the current hardship of Nigerians. We must be mindful of the kind of bills we propose so that it will not become reactionary. Because you can come up with a bill, we are going through a lot, which can lead to revolution, can lead to resistance of those policies. And instead of it to help our economy and our society to become peaceful and developed, it will become an anarchy or a chaos society. I want to think that it's very, very sensitive because it's not just about the crude oil that the federal government takes directly and gives our state and our local government. How they use them, that we do not know. But in this case, that we have to be the one to generate this money. The common Nigeria that you have not given job, the common Nigeria whose pay back home is very, very mean and mega. The common Nigeria that you do not know how they survive, even in their little businesses. The common Nigeria who does not even have a business to drive. I think we must tread this issue with caution. So Mr. Ledume is right, but I also want to feel that the issue of taxation can be discussed in the public. It's not a secret thing for any few senators to discuss. Yeah. After we have made our opinion, by our public presentations and our senators who are representing us, then our opinion and our own, mindset as senators representing other senatorial districts, and we Nigerians cannot go back to the Senate section in terms of the committee. So I want to think that Senator Ali Jume has his own reservation, but I feel that I'd like to join the Deputy Senate President for allowing, and I also want to thank him for allowing the issue of that presentation to be made public. I think they will return back again to come and clarify on some certain issues. Because I don't think that it's... Thank you.
All right, Ambassador. I want to ask you very quickly, because you talked about the masses and how this will have a very serious effect on the masses, particularly Nigerians that are on the lower income scale. Now, according to this tax reform bill, the personal income tax has been literally taken away for people who earn from 800,000 naira annually, and then from 2.2 million, that is where the taxing begins. But then when you look at it in comparison to what has been obtainable, because currently Nigerians who earn 300,000 naira annually pay 7% in personal income tax. But now, if this tax reform bill should pass into law, it means that people who earn from 800,000 naira annually will not, people who earn from, let's say, 100,000 or whatever to 800,000 naira will not pay anything. However, from 2.2 million, that is where the taxation begins. That's on one hand. It appears to have helped the low earner in Nigeria. However, when you look at the VAT, which I think that is where Senator Ali Ndume has been very, very vocal about, the VAT appears to be progressive. According to Chapter 6 of the tax reform bill, the VAT, if this tax reform bill passes, the VAT rate from the current 7.5 will move to 10% in 2025, and in 2027, in 2026, 2027, 2028, and 2029, it will be 12.5%. It will now increase from 10% to 12.9%, and as at 2030, it will be pegged at 15% for VAT. How realistic is that going to be, considering that, I mean, the same common or low earners in Nigeria are the ones who shop a lot. We buy things on a daily. You pay VAT when you go to supermarkets to buy things. You pay VAT when you go to fast food. You pay VAT on practically everything in the country. And saying that low-income earners now will not pay personal income tax. However, the VAT will now be progressively increased yearly. What do you make of that? Very quickly, as we round up.
Well, I want to think that number one is just the question of